Hello there, and welcome to another edition of In Between the Pages with Lott Jr. I am James Lott Jr. And, I've interviewed, at this point, hundreds of people, but every once in a while, I get a little starstruck in a good way. And I'm going to try to stay professional, not gush too much. But this person I've wanted on my show for a long time. And I actually met her at the Daytime Emmys a few years ago. But I'll tell that story in a second, briefly. She was so sweet. But let me tell you, if you don't know who she is, let me tell you who she is. I know you know who she is. Now, she started out as a child star, of course, on Broadway, and Annie, hello, she's doing that, did a lot of episodic television, like many child stars do back then. But of course, a lot of us know her from two of her roles that are very popular. Lily Walsh, ... and Rose D'Angelo on As the World Turns, where she won 2 Emmys, folks, that's right. And then, of course, she went on to Alexis Jordan and Anacostia, which was my friend, Anthony Anderson, who I love just like dearly, and won an Emmy from there, too. But is also executive producer of the show. And then she's also had a brief appearance on General Hospital, which I remember that. And I believe we did something on BB back, Being Bold and Beautiful back in behind the scenes. We'll talk about that also. I'm just so happy. And she's a singer too. She has albums out. She's a singer. Miss Martha Byrne. Hi, Martha.
Hi, thanks for having me. This is so much fun.
So, okay, I just want to tell you, because you met a lot of people over the years, but I just want to tell you, back in 2018, I met you, Elizabeth Hubbard, at the Emmys, took a picture together. We actually had a brief interview. The file got corrupted. There were several files that got corrupted. And I was like, I got a picture with them. And folks, I yelled out to them, Miss Hubbard, Miss Byrne, and they turned around. They came over to me. So I was very happy you turned around and said hi. And you were so gracious. You and Elizabeth were so nice.
Oh, well. Yeah, I mean, look, I'm with the queen. I have to take care of the queen. And I was just there as her, whatever she needed for that entire trip, which was probably one of the most amazing trips I've ever had.
Wow.
Being with Elizabeth we flew together, we stayed in the same hotel, we had wine, we had great times with Paulo Sagante, we had Bill Fichtner, we hung out with Bill Fichtner.
Oh, yeah.
So we had a really wonderful trip together. It was fun, super fun.
Isn't it great to see how much Bill has blown up on television? I mean, like, he's in everything. He's in everything.
I mean, there he is again. And, we have such a bond because he always tells the story about when he first auditioned. He was very young to play Josh, but
yes.
Apparently, I don't remember this, but I do remember his audition because he was so amazing. I apparently went into Douglas Marland and said, he's the best actor. He's just so wonderful. Not that they listened to me by any means, but it was such a reaction that I had some really good instincts in my screen tests with some actors that came on the show. I screen tested a lot of actors who came on. So he was amazing. He was so great then. And to see him succeed, and he's still so humble and talented. And he's producing himself too. He's writing, producing, directing, and also on camera. He's a great guy and great friend.
It's funny because, he, even then, I saw how great he was back then. I mean, we're talking, to me, the golden age of soaps.
Yes.
We had Douglas Marland. I mean, hello, legend, writing for your show. And all these actors, especially, the New York actors, I have such an affinity for them. And it was just so wonderful. It was just so wonderful to see him come on and play this complex role. It was very complex because your relationship on the show shifted from, it was his cousin, and now this is your father. His name was Rod Land. It was a whole, you guys had to carry, that storyline was bananas, first of all. It was just bananas. Yes. And wonderful. I mean, in a wonderful way. It was bananas in a wonderful way. And that's considered one of the storylines of soaps that's like one of the best, they consider one of the greatest, storyline moments is like that storyline.
It's such an honor, it's an honor to have it chosen so often as a storyline that resonated with people still to this day. That was 1987, Woo! I believe.
Girl.
And I remember that because I went on vacation after we shot the scenes where at least Lily found out she was adopted. And I remember at the end of the day going to the Jersey Shore for 2 weeks. I was so exhausted from all the acting, all the emotional roller coaster of that story. And I remember going at the end of the day being completely drained because then Lily ran away, of course, after that all happened. And it was how fortunate to be involved in such a wonderful story and writing and actors, Lisa Brown and come on.
The list goes on. And Lisa Brown. I mean, are you talking about people? I mean, you're talking to everybody.
It never ends, the talent.
No, it doesn't.
Very lucky I was to be around them.
That's what struck me. I watched East Coast and West Coast soaps. And East Coast soaps just had this different flavor. They really did. And I always feel like it was the background of many of you guys were Broadway and off-Broadway actors and theater actors. Also, not saying there aren't any in LA or California, but it was just so interesting that the flavor of the show was the shows there, Guiding Light, as we were just very different. Even All My Children back then was on that coast. It was very different. Very, very
a lot of the actors had Broadway, they had night gigs. You know, Larry Brigman was on Broadway, and Kathleen Widows was always doing Broadway. Theater was such a big part of the ensemble. And you know what we did, how we filmed the show, taped the show, was really like a little play. You know, we had 3 cameras, but we shot it in real time, and then they edited it, you know, down, and the director called the shots in the control room. So it really was a play feeling, and we could try things, and we were creative and experimental. And then, you know, if it didn't work, something the next day, we could try something new. But to be around some of those seasoned professionals who, you know, really brought that A game to the work and took it very seriously. Elizabeth Hubbard obviously takes it extremely seriously. I was nurtured in that environment, and I'm so grateful for it, or else I never would have acted again. I think if I had gotten fired from As the World Turns, which I probably was I know I was almost fired from the show when I first started, after for a couple of months. When Doug came on, there was a window where they were trying to decide whether to keep me or not. I found that out later, but he gave me a chance to prove myself as an actor, and gave me a little mini storyline with Dusty when he got hit by a car.
Yes.
And I passed the grade, or else I think I would have been done. You know, when I first got the show, I was ready to leave the business. I really had enough, and I got a phone call hiring me to come on, asking if I wanted to do the show. And I'd already auditioned 6 months before that and not gotten the part. Lucy Deakins got the part. So when she had auditioned for a movie called The Boy Who Could Fly,
oh yeah,
and I did too, yes. And I screen tested for it, and she got it. And I remember As the World Turns wasn't going to let her out to do it, and her mother said, "Well, she's a minor, so we're pulling her out of the show of As the World Turns." And the producer at the time, Bob Calhoun, said, "You know what? Today's her last day. Bye." So he called me. Yeah, he was no joke. And she was going to leave she said, "I'll leave in 3 weeks or something." He said, "No, today's your last day."
You're like, "Bye, bitch. See you
later."
And
he called my mother. "Yep, bye. You don't want this job. This isn't good enough for you, whatever. Or, you know, you want to pull some strings, pull that." Which, of course, it was a major motion picture. And not that she did, that was the right thing to do, but she had every right to do that. But it was fortunate for me that she did, because they just looked at the old audition tapes and picked me from those audition tapes. I came into my Catholic school uniform that day after school, and my mom drove me in, and I met the producers and everybody. And then I got a phone call like later that afternoon that I was starting on Monday. It was like a Friday afternoon. So it worked out really well for me. it really, I was there for a long time. So it was a great job. Yeah.
Now you were actually, I mean, you're involved in several iconic scenes. We have, you know, the Holden jumping out from the barn scene.
Sure.
That's another one that, I mean, it's just surprising, because you've been in this business for a long time, how certain scenes, because you're doing this every day, you're working it out, you're doing scene after scene. You don't really know what scenes are going to be iconic, do you, when you're doing them, right?
No, but you feel there's a certain energy. You know, like when that happened, it was clearly there was a change in the show when John jumped out of the high loft. You know, I mean, you couldn't deny what that. I mean, I look at it now and I think, well, of course, America swooned, just like I was swooning when he auditioned, and like a puppy, following him around like a little puppy, like everybody else in America. I was no different than every other teenage girl with my love for him, which came through the character.
He was hot. He had the hair. He had everything. He was hot. He was.
He was. And he was quiet and brooding. And in real life, he was like that. He was very quiet and very shy, you know. So it was all real, what you were seeing, because I couldn't help it. I mean, it was teenage girl. And anyway, it worked out very well for us too, for many years and many decades. And we were very close. And he was my other husband for so long.
He doesn't age. He doesn't age. I saw him recently, and I'm like, okay, I guess you're drinking some potions somewhere, I guess, obviously.
I know. I agree with that.
I
agree with that. Still good looking.
Yes. I want to tell you this, because I'm just going to skip a little forward to on As the World Turns. I wrote this down. I loved Lily. Always loved Lily. You're one of my favorite characters. And I followed your trials and tribulations and that. And it was all that. Then Rose came on. And at first I was like, okay, another dual role. Okay, they're gonna put her in a different hairstyle and blah blah blah. I mean, I really was kind of skeptical because I was protective of Lily, the character of Lily. So I had a little attitude. I was a little soft, a little salty. I was like, okay, I was like good for her homegirl getting her, an extra little gig. But I was just kind of like, I don't know. Then you won me over with the betrayal, and I was pissed when she died. I mean,
me too.
Isn't that funny? But is that the journey of you? First, you're like, I don't know. To I was pissed when she died.
Yeah, and I've said this before. If it was a day of Twitter, that character would have been gone in 6 weeks, because you need time for, first of all, the writers to write it, the actor to figure it out, everybody to figure out how this works, and never would have lasted as long as it did, because she really grew into a big part of the show, and I got to work with actors I never got to work with before, and that was super fun, like Colleen.
Yes.
And Maura and Kelly and Rod Holroyd and amazing people that I never got to work with as Lily. So it was fun, and I could do some really silly things. Ann Sayer, who played Mitzi, I mean, we laughed. It was a fun character. I think soaps have a tricky time with comedy. I don't see a lot of real funny. It's a tricky thing to write comedy into soap. So the reason Rose came about is because myself in my real life was much more that character, and much more a Rose character. And off camera, when we would say cut, I was more Rose than I was Lily. My jokes and my digs at John and like Michael Park and I were like riffing on each other all the time, and they wrote that in because they thought we need something like that. We need a lighthearted kind of tone to the show. And it's hard to write comedy. And so I just got to do whatever I want. I kind of like freedom, and then the writers had a lot of fun. And Hogan Schaeffer loved that character because she was, if he could swear on TV, he would have written so many, much more, much more himself, his own flair, for lack of a better word, which I loved him dearly. But he had such fun writing her.
Another legend.
Yeah, he was amazing. He was like, he loved actors. He loved the people. The door was always open in the writer's room with him. We were friends, and he was the head writer, just like Douglas. We were friends, but he was also the head writer. Very different. They were very personality-wise, completely different. Yeah. But the love of the show was the same.
When Douglas Marland died, he's one of the first writers of a show that I was really sad. I loved his work. It was him, and then James E. Wright later on Days of Our Lives. I mean, those are the that I actually, wow, I'm really sad that they're gone. I mean, I'm not gonna have any more of their activity in the world. I mean, that's done. Normally mourn over actors and maybe creators, but that was the first time I actually mourned over a writer or so.
We did too. It took a long time for us to get over that, emotionally, creatively. It was his baby, and when that happened, it was shocking. And then to figure out how to navigate it without him took a long time. And then we had some wonderful writers that came in, and then Hogan kind of added that he was a risk that they took because he didn't have any background in the medium, but he was willing to learn and loved it. But he was a new hire. Like, he wasn't that one of the names that you heard a lot. You never heard of him. So Doug was, he shouldn't easily be replaced. There was like, you had Mr. Bell, and you have, Lee and Bill, and you have the Corday family, and you have, Agnes Dixon. Those people, they all worked together when they were in their youth. They were all, grew up together, and we've lost all of them now. And it's a shame, but we have their work that we can get to watch.
We do.
Just wonderful.
A question I always wanted to ask you, I don't know if you've ever been asked this before, when you were playing both twins, how cognizant were you of, as an actor, to not have too many Lilyisms in Rose and Roseisms in Lily?
That's a great question. I mean, like, even for Rose, I would wear a different bra.
In the character, I guess.
Let's start it from that. The ground up. There were a lot of jokes about Rose. A lot of jokes about Rose that I couldn't say on this broadcast right now. It was so much fun because once I got in the clothes, it's such a part of her and her. I never felt any crossover at all. I mean, it was interesting when the double, the actresses who were wonderful, who had to learn all the same lines, but not, so they'd wear Rose's hair, but then, no makeup, and they would have to mimic my hand gestures as Rose. So it was a hard job, and they never got to, they did, it was a great job for them, but yet they couldn't be seen on camera. But anyway, as she evolved, I felt Lily was the straight man, and Rose was the clown. She was the one who kind of danced around her. Lily was the rock, and I'd played for so long that it just came naturally. But it's funny, people who know me more as Rose, a Rose type of character, so I could really go far with it. But I never, once you put those heels on, once you put those tight leather pants on and the bra. But I knew somebody who judged the Emmys the year that I won, and after the fact.
Yeah.
And she came up to me and she said, "Do you wear the same bra when you play Rose? I bet you don't." I said, "I don't." She goes, "I could tell. I noticed that. Like I would wear different perfume. I would wear, anything that would make me feel more in her space." And Elizabeth Hubbard, playing Lucinda, looked at me differently. And the other characters, Holden looked at Rose totally differently. We had a little inside joke about that. Why? I can't say it. But we had this little thing. It was John had a different energy with me playing Rose than he did with Lily. He could be a little freer with Rose as the character. So, I have one kind of fun story when the hairdresser, Lillian, who may she rest in peace, I loved her dearly. She was like a family member. She had worked on Another World and As the World Turns for years and years and years. And so she would do my hair, obviously, for Rose sometime. Maybe had many hairdressers, but she came home one day and her husband was watching the show. And he said, "Do you do both of those girls' hair?" And she said, "Those are the same person." He said, "No, it's not. That's two different people." She's like, "No, it's the same actress playing both parts." And I thought, well, that's the best compliment I can get, because there were similarities, obviously, but he wasn't even seeing a same person, and the technology behind it and how they edited everything together and how you could pretty great. A lot of work, but fun.
Oh no, your portrayal. I wouldn't. That's what I was asking.
Thank you.
You did a great job.
Thank you.
Very deserved. And again, sad when Rose was killed.
Oh, me too. I was very bummed when that happened. I was not happy about it at all when it happened, and I'm not surprised that it happened because. Okay. Yeah, I wasn't surprised. I was disappointed in the how it, when she died, what the story was going to be, and then what it kind of ended up being. Yeah. The story of her dying was amazing.
Yeah, no, it was.
But I think it was budgetary. I think that's why they killed her off, which I understand. But at the same time, I don't know. It was story related. They made it more like story to drive story, and it was a great story.
Yeah.
But I think budgetarily it costs a significant amount of money to do that. Split screens and editing, all that stuff.
Yeah. Talk about Lisa Brown. Okay. A person who I know behind the scenes, she does coach a lot of actors, right?
She used to, not anymore. No, she did when she was right. Guiding Light, she used to do coaching.
Amazing person. Amazing actress on her own. Talk about Guiding Light and As the World Turns. Amazing actress. You play your biological mother. So how was that with her?
I can't ask for a better scene partner. We're still friends. We talk twice a day. We're still close.
I want her on my show.
Yeah, we're really close. My husband works. Okay. She's the best. She's amazing. And turned to directed As the World Turns. She's really
strong woman.
One of the first people to go behind the scenes and really start building her career there, directing music videos and, kind of very, very talented. We wrote Gotham together. We created that together, and we had so much fun doing that together. But we're family. We I remember her kids are babies, and we're so. But she was also another actress that she was so free with her work and incredibly helpful in teaching me how to be better at what I did, because she was so seasoned and also amazing. And on Broadway, another Broadway actress, star, musical theater, incredible. You know, we were like sisters. You know, Elizabeth Hubbard and I were like mother-daughter, and Lisa and I were like sisters, but we did have a mother relationship. I have a lot of mothers in my life. I've noticed this as I'm getting older now. I'm like, I had my mother, and I had Elizabeth, and I had Kathleen, and I had Lisa, and I had a lot of female mentors in my life that were really, I'm very blessed that they were around. Now that I can be reflective now at 50, I can look back and go, wow, I was really fortunate to be surrounded by such powerful, strong, independent, talented, no BS women. You know, I've never felt the female empowerment movement that's going on, which is wonderful. I always felt empowered. I never felt like I wasn't getting my just due in my life. I'm very fortunate that way, but look who I was surrounded with.
I know.
These the women were no joke, you know, and single moms, and sometimes I learned from the best, and I was surrounded by that. So it's part of my DNA now of going, well, but of course I can do it. Who says I can't do it?
Yeah,
I can do that, you know.
Sure.
And so I'm fearless, completely fearless women, and I feel like that I grew up with that. And Lisa's one of those people too, like fearless, nothing she can't do, won't do, try. As an actor, as a director, as a human being, very fortunate to have her part of my
amazing
life.
You and I are the same age, and so
happy birthday!
Yeah, my birthday is in actually a few days, so it's kind of crazy.
Happy birthday!
Thank you. Now I want to ask you, what was it like? I know it was like for me, obviously, but what was it like for you turning 50? What did it mean to you?
It was kind of anticlimactic. I have to be
too.
honest with you.
I do.
It was very strange. I have an incredible husband. I have wonderful children. My mom lives with me. She's healthy. I have great siblings. I have nothing that I look for. I'm like, I need this. But it was a very strange birthday. I had a goal. I knew I wasn't going to turn 40 at As the World Turns. I knew it. I don't know why I knew it, but I knew it. Okay. And I didn't. I left before I was 40.
Right, yeah, exactly. You didn't do that.
Something like that. I don't know. I didn't want. I couldn't have predicted how I left. That was unpleasant. But I knew that I felt in my gut I wasn't going to be there at 50, 40.
Yeah.
And I had this plan to when I'm 50 that I would be producing and have. And I'm working more now today than I've ever worked as a producer. That I'm thrilled about, that I reached that goal to get to where I was. But it was a very strange, I was a big party, like we're having a party. 30, I had a huge party in the city, right? 40, big party.
Same here.
50, I was like, I just want to be around my friends and my family, right? It's like, I don't want to go whoop it up anymore and, you know, dance on the tables kind of thing. But it was, I didn't, it was just, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it, but.
I agree with you. I agree that mine was the same way. I just turned it. I turned 50 the next day. I was.
Me too.
Just like, okay, I made it.
I know.
Yes.
I know. And I didn't want to like have a party or anything like that. And it was just because I feel like, I don't know. I can't put my finger on it. It's just not like a lot of my friends had big parties and big, like, one of my friends celebrated the whole year.
Oh, Jay.
It's my year, like 50. She traveled, she had friends, she did, you know, it just didn't fall into my world that way. And that's fine. Like, I feel like I've done so much. I've accomplished that part of my life. I was like, I have celebrated, you know, I really have enjoyed every sandwich, as they say. So,
yes.
But I'm happy I made it. You know, I'm happy I'm here.
Okay.
Happy that I'm working and life is good.
Yes, I agree. Girl. That leads into some other stuff that you've done outside of that. Thanks for indulging me the As the World Turns stuff. I just missed that show all the time.
Of course not.
Did you do script writing for Bold and Beautiful?
I did. I was briefly. I just did a 13-week cycle writing for the show. I had submitted a sample script of a pilot that I had written, and Brad loved it. He loved the pilot, and, you know, offered me this job. And I didn't get picked up for another cycle, which was okay. Like, I think he felt bad. Like, he's like, I don't think it worked. It didn't work. It didn't work because I know why it didn't work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Oh yeah. 100%. they have a staff of writers, and they have the head writer, and the things come down, you get a breakdown, you write the script, and you send it out. There's, I tried to incorporate history sometimes in some of my scripts. Like I knew the show back and forth. So, and if it didn't gel with what was going on in the story, that would get cut out. That was like, don't do that, which was fine because I was trying to learn the pattern of how they wrote. And it was not a good job for a stay-at-home mom with little kids running around, and like it just wasn't. And it was very isolating in a lot of ways as to do it. And I didn't really have the what's the word? I don't know. It didn't work really well with my life either. So when Brad was like, I don't think we're going to renew your, I'm like, that's fine. I'm fine. I'm like, I'm thrilled to have been a part of it, even for the short period of time that I did it. Yeah. But it is a machine. I mean, they crank. Patrick Mulcahy, who's an amazing person, a wonderful writer, a great human being.
Yes.
He was so kind to me. He worked with Doug, obviously, they were great friends. And he was trying to help, kind of help me and, guide me through that. But he would turn around a script in 2 days.
Wow.
The script. And for me, that was extremely fast for me to do a script. I think I could do it now better than I could do it then. I mean, I know I could do it better now. I've learned a lot more since. I've learned a lot since then. But Brad was just even giving me the opportunity to do that I was really thrilled. He's a very good. That whole family is just wonderful, and so Laura Lee and I are like sisters, and she's been so good to me as well. And we're just best friends. We're writing together. We're writing 2 shows together. We're developing and other things. We have like 7 things we're working on together, but 2 really great dramas that we're working on, and so yeah, would I do it again? I don't think I'd be asked, which is fine. But, it's, if any writer comes into that world and sees how they write, it is super fast. Like there's no room for like hesitation. You have to crank out a script and turn around. But they're so good at it. Why would they rarely add new writers to their circulation because of that. They can't wait. They can't teach someone, and nor should they have to. There's plenty of people that can do it a lot better than me. So yeah, but it was fun to be even asked to do it.
Yeah, it's funny because now we only got 4 shows left. It's a very small community. I work with the Bell family on Bold and Beautiful stuff, and they are wonderful.
Oh wow!
And Young and Restless folks too. I love them too. And I just feel it's funny how like a lot of actors move around behind the camera on certain shows, like Heather Top directs episodes of shows.
Oh yeah.
And I love Heather, and I mean, so it's really interesting. I mean, I'm glad people are hearing this. That some soap actors, you may not see them on screen. They're behind the scenes doing stuff on your favorite TV shows, on your favorite movies, on your. They're around. They're out there working.
We're just not. We changed our hats. We moved the hat from the acting hat to the producing, but it's very hard to make that transition. It's not easy at all. Heather is one of those examples. Kimberly McCullough. Johnson, they worked their butts off to get to where they are now and earned that right to work. They really got their stripes and really did the work. You can't just say, okay, I'm going to be a director now. It's like, that doesn't work. You have to do you have to pay the dues, and you have to pound the pavement, and you have to, you have to work. It's not something that's easily handled unless you're a major movie star. And even then, you still have to work at it. Not something that's just handed to you. So
I'm glad you said amazing. I'm glad you said that, because I always tell the youngins in the business, they come to me, I didn't get this, and I'm like, you just started like a year ago. Like, come on, folks. Like, there's no substitute for hard work. There just really isn't. Like maybe it's our generation. I don't know. There isn't.
I think just the days of YouTube stars and Instagram fame and all of that, and the American Idols of the world, which is great. I mean, it gives people opportunity and never had opportunity before. But then what do you back it up with, right? Like, how do you, my niece is on American Idol. She's one of the finalists in American Idol, and like, she's now, writing songs every day. You can't just, you have opportunity. What do you do with it? You have to turn it into something. You can't just be like, oh, now I'm famous and now I have to figure out, nothing. It's a skill that you have to work at. But yeah, I think the instant gratification generation is here. I have kids, so I know that my daughter doesn't watch TV. She watches YouTube. Like she watches, it's not, but they're just a different generation. So how do you grab their attention? The younger generation. I don't have the exact answer to that because I have trying to do the same thing with my own children, but their attention,
yes,
which is always difficult. But yeah, no, it's I'm happy for we work hard. We work very hard on this other side of the camera, trying to get our things made and productions up and our scripts read and our pitches heard, and it's I've learned a lot in the last 10 years.
Wow.
More in the last 10 years than I learned in the first 30 of my career, to be honest, about the business, for sure.
Wow. So I want to ask you that before I get into Anacostia, which I want to talk about for a second, of course.
Mm-hmm.
I was going to ask you, were you in that documentary about all the people who ever been in the Annie stuff, Annie play?
Yes.
I thought so. I thought
Life After Tomorrow.
Yes. So you were in that.
Great documentary too.
Oh, great.
Really, it really, really is. And Allison Smith, who I grew up with, who played Annie when I was Annie, who was on the West Wing, and Kate and Allie, and it's just our lives are so intertwined as well. But it's a great documentary, and it was interesting for me to be interviewed for the documentary. I had a great experience. I had the best experience we had great orphan kids, we had great parents, we had great aunt, we had a really good group of people, but it wasn't always that way for a lot of these girls when they were on the road.
Not.
No. And so when I watched it, I thought, I feel so bad that it wasn't the most beautiful experience like it was for me. I didn't realize, I could never even think that there would be a dark side to what we were, doing. And so it's a really wonderful documentary. I think it really captures what goes on in that. We were friends with Peter Pan kids who were on Broadway, the Evita kids. We were all hung out. We went to the arcade on 52nd Street and 8th Avenue. All of us swarmed that place between shows and there was a strip bar down the street. We knew the bouncer. It was some way to grow up, man. It was really fantastic. It was a different time in the city in the 80s, in 1980. Coming from a Catholic schoolgirl in New Jersey going, what is that? Why are those people naked by the Lincoln Tunnel? I don't know. Why is she naked? I did see that a lot.
I try to explain to people because my family's from New York, so I used to go to New York every summer and all the time. My grandparents, my mother's from Spanish Harlem area, and I used to go all the time.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, and then my grandmother moved. My grandmother moved to Brooklyn, or by Park, and I used to go all the time. I try to explain to folks, Hell's Kitchen in the day, you didn't go to Hell's Kitchen in the day, back in the day. There was a place you didn't go to. 8th Avenue had a lot of things going on over there. Times Square was seedy. It was dirty. It was seedy. I loved it. I loved it. Grimy. It got cleaned up. It really got cleaned up.
Big time. Big time. We called them the Tunnel Bunnies. They were the ladies by the Lincoln Tunnel, right? Just before, as I was going home from the theater at night at 11 p.m. and I'm going, wow. But I wouldn't trade it for the world. It was one of my friends who also was a child actor goes, we were streetwise when we were 10. We knew how, when something was funky, we knew, somebody was shot at a bodega across the street from our theater. My mother was mugged and she chased the mugger down the street. Really, this is my mother's no joke either, let me tell you. I wouldn't want her chasing me ever. But yeah, it was crazy times, right? But it was, I wouldn't trade it for the world because it really made me appreciate musical theater and the theater crowd and the energy and to be 10 years old and be able to, experience that was crazy, but wonderful. It was great. It's great.
I feel bad because I love musical theater. I go every chance I get. When I go to New York, I always go to Broadway and see at least 2 things. Here in LA, I'm always seeing stuff. I'm so sad Broadway is closed. It's dark. It's so weird that everywhere's dark. But I'm just saying for Broadway, that, my mind is blown. How that's just nothing playing.
I know. It's really, Michael Park, as you know, played Jack. He's been in so many wonderful shows, and it's heartbreaking. It's just,
I agree.
It's baseball and Broadway. Like if we can get baseball back up in July, which they're talking about, and then we can start opening Broadway a little bit. Yeah, I feel like we're getting back to some sort of what we are, who we are, you know, as a group together, as this whatever we're doing on this planet together. But I don't know. I don't foresee it happening for quite a while. I don't know. I don't know. I'm afraid to even go to the city right now. I'm not ready yet. You know, I'm not ready to like do that yet. Not that I have to. But, I mean, there's nothing going on. I'm just sitting home and producing from home right now, which is fine. But you know, production has stopped. Any kind of physical production in studios or, you know, locations in this area has stopped. But I feel like they're going to open up in LA a little bit sooner than New York. I hope. Yeah.
All right. So Anacostia. So you have like many soap actors. I just interviewed Crystal Chappelle, and of course she does Venice, the series, and all that.
Yes, of course.
And you guys have moved into this digital. Well, back then it was called web series and these kind of little things.
Right.
But now it's digital dramas. I like the title. So why Anthony Anderson and Anacostia? I love the show. I love him. But for you, why them and him?
I loved him. Yeah. I loved him. I met him at the Indie Soap Awards, you know, in the first, I think it was year 1, I believe, or no, year two. And he was just, when he won, and his heart, and he cried, and he hugged me, and we talked about Lily, and he was such a fan. I'm like, how can I not work for this guy? Why would you not want to work with a guy who loves you that much, right? I didn't even see in the show. I'm like, sure, I'll do it. I didn't even know what I was going into. And then I watched, I'm like, you know, this guy, you know, he was ahead of his time. I mean, he was way ahead of his time with the digital series and doing it. You know, I had such, you know, I had money to do mine. You know, it cost a lot of money to produce Gotham. It would cost
I remember Gotham.
A tenth of what we spent to do that show now. It would cost, I don't want to think about it, you know. I'm glad I did it, but it was very expensive.
Yeah.
And to see someone like Anthony do this with his friends who supported him, how could I not support him, right? If we do anything in this planet, also as a creative person, as a, you know, artistic person, if we don't help people come up, if you don't help people, you don't give them a hand up, shame on you, because we are blessed. I want to help people. I want to help people who are passionate about their projects and help. I've helped many of them, many web, you know, Empire web series. I helped them, you know, production wise and money or whatever, but anything where I can help support that, because I was fortunate enough to get here. I just loved him. And then he said, what do you want to do? Which role do you want to play? So he sent me his two scripts. And of course, how could I not play a pimp? Come on. I mean, really? It's like, I'll never get cast as that in anything else. So I might as well. And it worked out well for me there too. Little Emmy award for that, which is great. Yes. So, you know, but I love, this is what I have to say about Anthony. He took my advice. He actually took my advice. That's very rare, I have to say. Because especially someone who writes their own show, or, you know, who really has control over his whole production, to listen to someone like me, because he has a respect for me, meant a lot to me. Because there's many times in my career where I would give advice or help, and it was like, no, I got it. No, I got it. I'm like, I don't think you got it.
Okay.
But go ahead. I'm just trying to help. And he listened, and I appreciated that, because I felt, what if not for doing this for 30 years, if I can't hand it off to somebody, what's, you know, my kids aren't in the business. Right. They're not producers, not actors, not writers. If I can't help, help, you know, and he was just, and he listened, and I appreciated that. And, you know, the scenes that I got the Emmy for, you know, we wrote together, and, you know, I did a lot of changes, and I had a red pen, and I taught him a lot of things about what works and what doesn't work in shows. You don't have to say a lot of things. You can play a lot of things. Don't say it, play it. Take out, trim, cut, simplify, focus, because I've learned that it doesn't matter if it's a soap, it's a theater, it doesn't matter what it is. if you have the emotion, the words are the last piece of the puzzle. If you don't have the emotion, you don't even need words. You shouldn't even need words. So we had he was wonderful that way. And then Elizabeth Hubbard, to have Liz come on, which was a whole other thing.
Yes.
Talk about trying to put that together.
Yeah, I know. How'd you do that? I mean, you did it. It happened.
I don't know. I still don't know, really.
Okay.
Because Liz had no clue what this was. Like, she's like, what are we doing? What are we, who's coming to my house? Oh, it's fine. I said, people are going to come. We'll be here. We'll be gone. You'll never even know we were here. And it was, if you think about, like, and Anthony's like, I can't believe I'm on Liz Hubbard's floor right now holding a boom, filming a scene in the house. And it was great. It was, because he was such a fan. And you know, to me, I pushed having Liz on the show because it really broke my heart that Liz wasn't being able to do her thing. You know, she wasn't able to be seen, and it killed me because she had so many fans and people love her. And so we said, let's come up with something. Let's come up with some story for her and write it and shoot it at her house. And we did. You know, look, we shot 10. I don't know what we did. We shot so much in such a short amount of time. We had really one day with her. So, but we had fun. She's still quite sure. Like, she goes, well, if we do that show again, and we go to Washington, if we do the show, I think I have an idea for the character and do this. And I'm thinking, God bless her.
Yes.
God bless her. She'll never stop caring and never stop wanting to make it better. And always has ideas. I talk to her almost every day too. So it's really, she's great.
She's a legend also. She's a soap legend. She's a time legend. She's an
100%.
She's somebody who just completely, and I like what you said, and you know, I've interviewed many legends in our business, our divas, so to speak, and stuff, and I love them, and they always say to me, I just interviewed Millie Thomas Scott yesterday from Young and the Restless, and another one who's been around for a long time also, who was also in Hitchcock movies as a kid, all this stuff, and I was just like, you know, and I'm like, there's a lot of fans who appreciate you. We really want to see you working. We want to see you doing your thing. As long as you want to keep doing it, if you want to still do it, we want to see it. So we're always saying, like, come on, people, let's hire so-and-so, hire this person. Where's Erica Slezak? Where's this person? Where's Kim Zimmer? Like, we want to see those women
it's so nice
that we love so much.
It's very sweet. Thank you. Thank you. I mean, I think the acting train has left my station, which is fine. If it ever comes back into the station, I'm not going to turn it away, but I really feel I don't miss it, which I'm glad. Yeah. I'm glad I don't miss it. That's a relief that I don't miss it, because that would be heartbreaking to not be able to do it and miss it. Yeah. But I don't miss it. I don't. I was like, I don't. I'm glad I don't, because to not be able to fulfill that need. I've seen it with other people who it really hurts them to not be able to perform, and I don't miss that. I'm glad that I don't have to deal with that loss in my life, and it is a loss. It's a loss if you've done it for so long and then all of a sudden, you know, it's over. And I think that's true with any acting long-term job or career where it's like, now what? It's a now what kind of thing. But I've worked, you know, before I even left the show, I was starting to write and produce and start figuring it out a little bit. And I loved the behind the scenes so much that I knew it was going to go in that direction. I just didn't know where it was going to fall. Yeah.
It's one of those things where you basically morphed and changed in your life, and you morphed and changed into your careers. I mean, that happens to a lot of people. They just kind of, they start out one way and you think, I'm going to do this for the rest of my life, and that's it. I mean, I was a nurse once. I mean, I was like, I was going to be a nurse the rest of my life and just retire 65 and go travel. Clearly, I'm not doing it anymore. But sometimes it's just a natural evolution. As you change, your desires and wants change, and then you just then you have new careers happen, and now you're a producer and a writer and this. I mean, it seems like organically it just kind of happened because you were working towards it.
Yeah, but I think I had a very strong instinct that the show wasn't going to last for much longer. I feel like there was something like, things were going on behind the scenes, and I kind of got the vibe that this is probably not going to last for much longer if we continue on the path that we're on right now. And I maybe subconsciously I started, kind of looking the other direction, like where else can I put this energy? I did get a call when I left the show to go on another soap on ABC show. What?
Which one?
Oh,
It's just us.
I didn't get the part. They were going to recast. They didn't even offer me the job. It was just they were interested. Are you interested? They said, "Are you interested?" And I said, "Sure, I would do that." And then the actress came back to play her part when she found out they were recasting her. It was just weird, and which was fine. But I would have taken the job. It would have been fun.
Yeah.
It was in the city.
Yeah.
And but then then I was on General Hospital, which was perfect because I got to fly to LA, see my friends, and I knew it was a short-term thing. But I knew the writing was on the wall that it was not. I wasn't going to be there much longer. About a year before I left, I just felt it. I can't put my finger on what it was, but things were happening at the show that were kind of like, this is not good. Like fans are gonna not want to. This is not good. My instinct as a producer, from being a human, knowing what the audience wants to see,
yes,
and it wasn't happening.
Exactly.
I felt like we can only do this for so long before the fans are going to be really not want to, are going to get. They're so loyal. I mean, the fans are incredibly loyal, but to a point, it's like. So things were happening that I didn't feel were I don't know, the best for the show. And it was hard for me to watch it. It was hard for me to watch that happen and because I knew the loyalty was there and I knew what the fans wanted to see, and nobody knows better than the cast that's been there for 20 years, like what works and what doesn't, But again, it's not my job.
Yeah.
It's not my responsibility, but hard to watch.
Yeah.
Hard to watch.
Well, for us fans, it's hard to watch too.
Yeah, I'm sure. We knew. The fans always knew. The fans were the one. I'm like, see, they know what's going on. Like they'd ask you questions at fan club events, like, why is she doing that? I don't write it. I just play it. I try to make it work, And then there's ups and downs, peaks and valleys in soaps because they're on every day, and it's not always going to be Doug Marland years, right? But we can ride those out. But I felt at the end that it was really not. I don't think we were thinking of the fans enough about what they wanted, what was going to work. But again, that's just my opinion.
I know.
I have no authority.
And I mean, and I'm glad because fans are going to watch this and be like, yes, Martha, I agree with you. Because the thing is, I know there's a delicate line for writers and producers of shows to listen to fans yet have their vision. I know there's a line in there somewhere.
Sure.
I don't know where it is exactly, but I know where it isn't. I know when it's not happening, when it's lopsided. Us fans know when it's super lopsided, going, you keep pushing the character down our throat, it's not working. Like, we're not really tuning in to watch that. And like, they're still pushing it, they're still pushing it. So I know there's sometimes you can kind of tell when it's really not working versus kind of not working.
And I think they shoot, they shoot much farther ahead now too.
Yeah.
So if a story's not working, then you're already written it for so long that it's hard to pull back the reins. Like, I think As It Returns was only 2 weeks ahead when Doug was writing. So if it didn't work, he would just pull the plug on it and move on to something else. And they don't have the luxury of doing that anymore because we're shooting so much material in such a short amount of time. But you're right. There's a difference between someone going, oh, I hate you, and I really hate that character. Like, there's a difference. Yeah. Oh, you're Rose. You're such a little. That's not a bad thing. Like, they're like, oh, Rose, she's so mean, or whatever they would say. It was a character thing. It wasn't so much like, ugh, I don't want to see that person. There's a difference. And how do you define the two, right? How do you navigate the two? And still write your show. And it's a huge job. And it's, every actor in soap operas are Monday morning quarterbacks. We all think we can do it better.
Yes, of course.
Most of us cannot.
Yeah.
I still have to find the one actor who's going to do it, and write 75 actors in rotation, and it's whatever it is. It's a hard job. It's a very hard job, and it's not always going to be easy by any means. It can be more fun at times for writers, depending on who's at the helm or what's going on.
Yeah.
And then when it gels, you can tell on screen when it really gels. And we've had that several times in my ups and downs on the show. We've had those years. Yeah, and we felt it. You just felt it. You felt it. Everybody was working together. Everybody was happy. It was it's a team. It's a team of 200 people working together, and it's all working. It's pretty incredible.
Well, as we wrap this up, I can talk to you forever. I mean, you're just amazing. I can talk to you forever.
I don't bore anybody.
No, you are the bomb.
I don't bore anybody.
I love
No.
it. Yeah. You're the best.
Keep it going.
The last question I kind of want to ask you is, are you an organized person? Because now you are working on so many projects and you're doing various things. Do you consider yourself an organized person?
That's a great question. No, I don't. No. 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 I pretend to be. Don't tell my bosses that, because I have a few bosses right now. Oh, I got that. Yeah, can have it to you by Friday. Not a problem. Got it right. Figure it right out. Let me just go catch the dog who just ran down the street. I'll be back.
Oh my goodness.
I think you have to have some sort of
yes. Something.
understanding of getting things done, and this whole new way of producing at home, and like getting things. I'm producing these segments that are airing nationally right now. These branded 2-minute piece segments, doing them from home, and they're editing them, and we're sending them. Anyway, it's great, so much fun.
Yeah.
But there's deadlines, and there's things have to be delivered, and I'm getting better.
Okay.
Than I meant, because I like structure. I'm a structure person. I like consistency. And right now, I have 3 kids at home right now. I have, my husband works from home. I have, so I find it a little more challenging to be organized, but I miss that consistency of like where I'm going, what I'm doing. Right now it's a little, but we figure it out. You figure it out. When it has to get done, I get it done. That's why that's why people like to work with me, I guess, because it's like, Martha can get it done. What do you need? You need this down? Like today I had to clear some music for something, and like I can figure that out. I'll find the person that needs to, we have to hire or do, I'll figure it out. I find that through evolution here, I'm best at being a producer. That's kind of my best title. I feel like I can organize, I can get people together, I can match people together. I have a lot of contacts. I have a lot of people. I say that person would work really well with that person. That writer will work really good with that person. I really like being a connector of people. Am I organized? No. Ask my husband that question. He will say no. He's organized.
He's organized.
He's a Virgo. He's very organized.
Yes. Oh, completely. Oh, completely. Yes. They're very organized.
I'm a Capricorn. I climb mountains. That's me. I'm fearless, and I will climb a mountain. He's an organized. I'm in his office right now, so I'm looking. His papers are all organized, and he would answer that question very honestly and say she's not. But that's why we work well together, because we've been married for 25 years. So, he knows me. He loves me with all my crazy.
He knows you.
He does. 27 years. I mean, come on.
That's amazing. Congratulations. That's amazing.
It is. Thank you.
Thank you, Miss Martha, for being on the show. It
was such a pleasure. Such a pleasure to talk to you. Thank you for your wonderful questions, and I'm always humbled when anybody wants to talk to me about anything. It's it really is a testimony to the loyalty, your commitment to us as performers, and one thing I can leave you with is, and I said this the other day, I did an interview with Elizabeth. What the fans need to know is that every single day when we went to the studio, we had our scripts and we had our changes and our adjustments and our things. We always thought about the fan and the audience first. We would fight for it every day. We would fight for to do the right thing for the audience, because we knew instinctively that the audience was part of our job, meaning that they are part of the show. We have to include them in the story, or else they're not going to pay attention. If we are respectful to their intelligence, to their awareness, to their knowledge of history of the show, we would fight every single day to make it real, to make it honest, to care. We cared so much about the product. And from 7 a.m. in the morning to the time we finished taping, we were trying to figure out the best way to give the best show to the audience. That's what we did every day. And I think they need to know that our appreciation for the audience is 100%. We have nothing without the audience. We are nothing without the audience. We are nothing without the fans. And we had a commitment to them that was pure. And I since we weren't on stage, we don't get the applause, at the end of the show. We put it out there and hoped that people cared, and they did. And it showed in our responses from fan letters and when we meet people. But they really need to know that we appreciate them, and we're such value to us of your support. Even now on Twitter, I've been off the show since 2008, and people still support what I do and are so wonderful. So thank you for that. That's what I will say.
Well, thank you for your service to our community. Where can they find you online if they want to follow you online? I'm
at Martha Byrne Official is on. I can't see it. And Martha Byrne, I can't see a thing. Can't see a damn thing right now.
I know. I'm like, my glasses. What's going on? What's going on?
Yeah, readers. Oh my God, I look horrible. As Elizabeth would say, you look kabuki. Oh, please. I have some good one-liners of hers. When at one point, Lily was wearing very white makeup, and she just put her back. My God, you look kabuki. She's so funny. Yes, one funny story with her. When I was playing Rose, she never liked Rose. Lucinda didn't like Rose.
Right.
So we were doing a scene where Rose passed out on the couch. Something had happened. I don't know. And Liz came over to me and she looked me up and down. My eyes were closed, so I couldn't see what she was doing. She came over and she lifted up my skirt and looked underneath my skirt. And then all of a sudden I broke character. I started laughing hysterically. I'm sorry. I have to stop. That is the funniest bit. I wish it stayed in because she wanted to see if Rose wore underwear.
That's so funny.
She's just great. It was so much fun.
I love it.
Anyway, well, good to now see you. And thank you for having me. And anytime.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Thank you. Everybody, that's Martha Byrne. And I'm James Lott Jr. You can follow me everywhere, James Lott Jr., of course. This show is on every streaming service, every streaming platform, and on YouTube under JLJ Media. Everyone, please stay safe and sane during this strange time period. And we see you, and we'll talk to you next time.